Right, everyone, this is it. We've reached the end point. This is the final Monday that I will sit in this chair, in front of this camera and mic, and chat about the potential of Eddie Howe becoming the next Celtic manager. A week today, our dreams become a reality. Okay, maybe not, but I am clinging on to that hope. The Daily Record certainly seem to think that it won't be this week that Eddie Howe is confirmed as the new Celtic manager. They didn't actually give any sort of reason for why that is the case, although they did strangely mention the London Stock Exchange. Is there any other football club that sorts its managers through the London Stock Exchange or even mentions the London Stock Exchange when appointing a new manager? It's only ever Celtic that I seem to hear it about. I don't know. Food for thought there. But anyway, doesn't seem like it's going to be this week. I think it's pretty clear now that it's to do with the fact that Bournemouth's season is still ongoing. Probably by the time you've watched this video, they will have played the first leg of their championship playoff semi-final against Brentford. A couple of thousand fans are going to be at that match, by the way. I'm going to give it a watch later on. Hopefully Ivan Toney does us a favour, scores a few goals for Brentford, because surely if Bournemouth lose this semi-final over today and Saturday, then it will speed up the chances of us being able to bring in Eddie Howe and possibly some coaching staff that are already in place at Bournemouth. That's the only reason that I and many others can think for why this hasn't been confirmed yet. Celtic season's over. There's nothing stopping us announcing the appointment of Eddie Howe, apart from the fact that Bournemouth season is still ongoing. Why would they want a few of their staff members being announced going somewhere else while they're about to play their biggest matches of the season? But what if the unthinkable happens and Bournemouth actually see off Brentford over the next few days? Then the Championship playoff final at Wembley is scheduled for May the 29th. Now, that may seem a fair bit away. It's only actually 12 days or so. Would that then mean that Celtic would have to wait until after that, i.e. 2 weeks from now, before they appoint Eddie Howe? I'm certainly not going to be sitting doing one of these videos a week from now. I'm going to phone that in sick if that's the case. But where does that leave Celtic? And going a step further, what would happen if Bournemouth were promoted to the Premier League? Would these staff members, namely Purchase and Weatherstone, still be keen to leave Bournemouth, even to work with Eddie Howe, if Bournemouth are now a Premier League club? Again, a bit of food for thought there. So it seems that the Eddie Howe update is in fact, there is no update. There's nothing really happening. It's not going to be this week. It's going to be next week at the earliest. I've certainly rubber stamped May the 24th as the day for Eddie Howe, perhaps not being at Celtic Park with a scarf above his head, but certainly for Eddie Howe being announced as a Celtic manager. But as I kind of hinted at in last week's video, I don't actually think it's that important. Obviously, as Celtic fans, we want to know for sure who our next manager is going to be. We want to see Eddie Howe in a Celtic suit, if they make Celtic suits, with a Celtic tie on. We want to see him at Celtic Park. We want this dream to become a reality. We want to hear Eddie Howe talking in his first press conference about what he hopes to achieve at the club, what he thinks of the club. We want all this stuff because it will keep us going through the horrors of the summer of no Celtic, even though we do have the Euros to look forward to. But having said all of that, I'm not actually too concerned by the wait. And the reason I say that is that Eddie Howe will know by now he's going to be the Celtic manager and he will be working away in the background. I have absolutely no doubt in that he is working as he would be if he was the Celtic manager right now. He may not have been confirmed yet, but he will be looking at transfer targets. He will be studying recent Celtic games, and I'm genuinely not concerned about that at all. I was interested to see some chat on an unnamed Celtic forum that rhymes with Buddle Lord about Eddie Howe, and a lot of fans were saying that they've lost excitement for this because it's dragged out for so long. Understand that to an extent, but see the minute he's appointed, see the minute he says like one word, the minute he says Odsonne Edouard or Christopher Ayer in that beautiful South Coast accent, you're going to be hooked again. You're going to be buzzing with the appointment, and everyone's going to be like that. Stephen Welsh is clearly someone who's quite excited about the prospect of Eddie Howe being the new Celtic manager. He kind of broke rank a little bit during the weekend after the draw at Hibs that ended their season, and he actually mentioned Eddie Howe. He name-checked Eddie Howe, as the tabloids would put it, and he said that Eddie Howe fitted the criteria to be the next Celtic manager. Now again, everyone's reading stuff into that. Does he know? Chances are someone like Stephen Welsh probably doesn't know a great deal more than me or you, but it's promising. It's promising to hear that he's excited about the prospect, but who wouldn't be? So what has to change at Celtic for the fight back to truly begin? I've used the term fight back on the channel once before. It was back in early March. We had finally had it confirmed that we wouldn't be winning 10 in a row after the 0-0 draw at Tannadice. And I used the word in the video that went out the very next day. I think it was something along the lines of the fight back begins now. The sad reality is that the fight back hasn't begun now at all. They had a chance when Neil Lennon left the club for the relationship between the support and the club to start to be healed. It's just not happened at all. If anything, the fan base and the board and the club and even the players have grown further apart in the months since. That's pretty unforgivable for me, but we still have a chance to get this right. But it relies on a lot of things. It relies on the club not just assuming that they can appoint Eddie Howe and move on from what has been an absolute car crash of a season. There has to be some awareness from the club about how poor this campaign has been, and they can't just hope to shut supporters up and to take millions more pounds when Eddie Howe is appointed. Also, it has to be Eddie Howe's backroom team. It has to be the people he wants in. If it's Eddie Howe, Strachan and Kennedy, I don't think that comes across well as far as the support are concerned. The sporting director can't be forgotten. The sporting director has to come in as well. We have to hear from the sporting director, and we have to hear from Dominic Mackay as well. We need to finally hear from this guy. I know he's only really been in the job shadowing Peter Law for a few weeks, but by season ticket renewal time, we have to have heard from Dominic Mackay, whether it is even a statement on the website or even better, some sort of video on YouTube. We're happy to have him on the channel here if he wants, but if not, the Celtic official YouTube channel will do. We need to hear his ideas for next season, what he hopes to do at the club from a business point of view and a football point of view. We need to have a clear direction, and that needs to be communicated from Dominic Mackay to the club support. If all of these things happen and all of these things fall into place, I think the Celtic support will have reason to be excited for next season. If only one or two of them happens, then I fear we're in a very similar place. Player recruitment's also going to be a massive one. We've got probably the biggest Champions League qualifier of the lot up first. Now, I know that might sound daft saying that when there's 3 rounds to go through, but the first one is crucial. It's imperative we win that, because if we do win that first Champions League qualifier, then at the very least we are guaranteed Europa League group stage football, and that will be crucial for this new Celtic team to attract players and to improve players against the highest possible opposition. Obviously the Champions League is the dream goal, perhaps a little bit unrealistic given where we are at the moment. Europa League group stage, 32 teams next season, we have to be one of them at the very, very least. Right, so the 67 Hail Hail Eddie Howe party has been penciled in for May the 24th. That may be subject to change, but for now, stick it in your calendar. We will have something special when the appointment of Eddie Howe is officially announced. And if you want an invite to this wonderful party, then just subscribe to the channel. Do it now. Do it.
No invitations to the party will actually arrive as a result of subscribing. This is just a ploy from the host to get you to subscribe, but you should do it anyway.